and welcome back. In past episodes, we've taken a look at the various ways that you can create a build script by utilizing the NAnt framework. However, once you've spent any amount of time working with NAnt, you may find yourself needing a feature or function which is not part of either the core framework or NAnt contrib, which, by the way, appears to be dead since the last modifications about 2 years ago. So what do you do when you need a new feature? Simple. You add it yourself. Fortunately, NAnt is built to be fairly extensible, and it's actually pretty easy to extend. In today's episode, we're going to take a quick look at how you can simply add a new function to NAnt. We'll walk through the creating this function and actually show you it in action. So before I start, in order to create anything that is consumed by NAnt, you need to make sure that your assembly name ends in tasks.dll. So I've got my assembly name called custom function task. If you don't have this, the NAnt framework won't pick it up when it's looking through all the DLLs. So that's just a side tidbit. So what I want to do today is I want to be able to create a function that will take in an entire string path of a file name, all the folders all the way to the root, and pull out just the file name. And sadly enough, this doesn't actually exist within the NAnt framework as far as I can see, or in the NAnt contrib. So I figured I'd just write it, and it takes all of maybe 8 or 10 minutes to write. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do this. I've already got a test harness here, and I've already got a empty class called raw file name task. So let's go ahead and create a new raw file name task. And what I want to do with this raw file name task is I want to be able to provide it a string with full path and get back simply one file name. And so what I'm going to call this is get raw file name. It looks like I need to create my class real quick. And in order to have NAnt do this, so let's go and bounce back and actually have it create our method to save me a few lines of code. Go ahead and delete that and return back string.empty for now. Now, in order to make this a function that NAnt can pick up, you do need to inherit off of function set base. This will tell NAnt that this is a function and that it will actually be a reflection find it. Now, as you can see, I get a little squiggly here. This is because function set base does have a default constructor that is needed. So let's go ahead and fill that out. Now, in order to be able to use this with an NAnt, you also need to set a few attributes. The first one you want to set is function set, and as you can see, there's a couple parameters you need to pop in here. The first one is prefix, and we'll take a look at the prefix here in a second. The next is the category, and we're going to call this file. So I want this to have a prefix of file and go within the file category. Now, when you want to expose a method, you need to expose this as a function. And this name of the function is what actually NAnt will use when you're using your scripting file. Now, I'm going to go ahead and follow the standard convention that other NAnt methods and functions have, and that's going to be using the hyphen. You could use any convention you want, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with what appears to be the standard, so we'll do this. Now, all we have to do now is simply fill out the method getRawFileName. And that's it. That's all we have to do. If we bounce back over to our unit test here, let's go ahead and fill out our constructor that's now blowing up. And we can go ahead and pass in nulls for those because we're not actually utilizing them in our test. And if I put a breakpoint right here, let's step over that, and I get a single file name. And all this test did is just grab the first file of the system directory. Well, that's pretty cool. I just proved that I can write some code that will return that to me, but that doesn't actually prove that I can put that within the NAnt subdirectory and actually have it work. Now, once you've got your DLL created, you need to move it into your NAnt directory. So let's go do that now. So let's go find the DLL real quick, grab that, go into my NAnt folder, paste that into it. So now, in theory, if all works out well, NAnt should be able to pick up my task. Let's go back over to our build script. And in my build script, I've got a very simple script set up already. And what I want to do is actually utilize my property. So to save some time, I'm going to copy and paste. So what I've done here is I got a property that is called raw file name, and I want to push the value of that property in by calling my function. And by calling my function, all I have to do is call file, : get raw file name. This file correlates to this file here, the name I gave this. So if I want to change this, I'd have to change it to be whatever I want, so it's my prefix. And the, wrong script. This get raw file name correlates to the name I gave my method, get raw file name. So if I save all of these and run my bat file, everything should work. So let's bounce over here. I've got a batch file here that will run through and do this for us. And sure enough, you can see that get raw file names is looking through this folder and actually found the raw file name of custom function task. Iterate through the entire list because my build script actually just pulled in all the files from a directory, just iterated through them over and over again. So as you can see, in a matter of 7 or 8 minutes, we've taken the ability to not have a task that is useful for us or we need to create within NAnt. And we've seen how you can create your own task in as little as about 3 lines of code. Now, to remember, you need to have the function set attribute on your class. Your class must inherit off of function set base. And your method that you want to expose must be, implement the function attribute, and you need to provide the name. And this name here, in conjunction with this, is what you'll actually use when building your NAnt script. So I hope you learned something. Until next time.